Hey everybody, hitting you with a different kind of video this time. This is, I guess, a devlog-ish, but I don't know. I've never made a devlog before. I'm making a tower defense game, and I thought I would give you guys a little peek at it. Right now, it's about, I'd say, 1/3 of the way finished, and the main features are that it's grid-based, it's a pathfinding game, and there are randomly generated items sort of similar to I guess how Diablo 2 does items, where there are some prefixes and suffixes, sometimes a unique power. These are all unique because I'm in a debug mode right now. So this one, for example, every completed wave increases global damage by 1%. Let's go ahead and grab that. Grab this one, and we can grab this one, poison spreads to minions. So after every wave, we're going to be able to buy some relics from the store, and they have qualities that range from, ordinary, uncommon, common, rare, epic, legendary, unique, and then a few at one level higher than that, which are sort of, you can only have one for the game, and that's going to determine pretty much what the game is like. So these are going to be highly influential on what the gameplay is like. I've fleshed out a few. I don't want to sort of go through them yet because they haven't been written yet. But anyhow, I'll just go ahead and take a bunch of these just to sort of give ourselves a bit of an overpowered run so you sort of see how it looks eventually. Yeah, let's go ahead and say that's enough. So we have a grid where we can place some towers. Everything here is placeholder, except I think I am going to stick with this 1-bit theme. It just simplifies things for me. I kind of suck at art, and so I may as well lean into that. So we have melee towers, we have ranged towers, we have... this tower here is kind of interesting because what it does is it charges up over time and it has no limit. So if it sits over here and doesn't hit anything for the entire game, and then eventually some boss bleeds through, well, this guy's going to hit it with like the power of a million suns, because it's just charging every second that it doesn't attack, and there's no limit. Poison tower, it lays poisons. I need to fix the flickering of the fire rate, but that's just a small issue. And one of the big things with this game is that, I don't know if you ever played Gem Tower Defense back in the day, but it had a really cool thing to it that I haven't seen anyone else do really. On top of the pathfinding, so first of all, with the pathfinding, let me just clarify. If you, put stuff in the way, then the mobs will have to path around. You see? So they're trying to find their way around, and you're not allowed to block off the path. I've already set that up. So we have pathfinding, and the thing that I wanted to add to this that I didn't see in other games, the sort of the reason I made this game, was this idea of waypoints, where enemies first have to go to the first waypoint, then they have to go to the second one, and if there's any more, they have to go to those in order before they go to the exit. And so you can actually place a few, not many, but you can place a few. So now they'll have to go 1, 2, then 3. And you can get really clever with amazing, so that you have to go through like this whole thing before you get to 1, and then do the whole thing backwards to get to 2, then the whole thing again to get to 3. Which is sort of what I had fun with in Gem Tower Defense back in the days of Flash. So I was hoping to sort of recreate that here. Here's our pause menu. So we have basic player stats. We have each upgrade stat. And you can see that they've gone sort of out of control because I bought a lot of upgrades because they don't cost money yet. But I've also set up this filtering system where you can say, let's look at all the towers that contribute to health, or all the relics that contribute to health. And it sort of filters those for you and puts them at the front. All the upgrades that contribute to damage, and it puts them at the front for you. I should highlight them better, but the ones that increase damage are at the front. They're sort of decreasing, so 12.9. Damage here would be 10.4. I don't even see damage 9.8. So those would add up to 81.7 if you added all of those, and I think this one would be the last one maybe. So it's very basic stuff so far. I do plan on having upgrade paths for each tower, which are going to be more interesting than just a stat increase. But I have not implemented those yet either. As I said, I'm about 1/3 of the way through making the game. So let's just go ahead and see. Okay, so these sword towers are sort of one shot in these guys. We can pick up a whole ton of more upgrades. And let's just get silly with it so you can sort of see, I guess, what an end game. At the moment, the arrow towers are kind of interesting when they get really high upgrades. So let's go ahead and put down an arrow tower and see if we've got enough upgrades. Looks like we might. Let's go ahead and put a few of those bad boys down. There we go. And so part of the idea here is because the graphics are 1-bit, we can have this ridiculous amount of projectiles out in the level, and also the enemies. We can have a lot of enemies. So for example, that wave was splitters. So when you kill them, they split into more. There are also waves that have spawners, so enemies that spawn more enemies, and you can have spawners and splitters. So enemies that spawn other enemies that spawn other enemies, and when they die, they split into copies of themselves, and those copies can still spawn more enemies. So all that's on the table, all that's possible. One thing I want to mention also about the waves and which how we determine the modifiers that the waves get is based on the prime factorization of the wave number. So I guess splitters is multiples of 3, I think, and treasure would be multiples of 2. Multiples of 7 would be swarm, so in wave 14 we would be swarming and treasure. Right? And here we have splitters squared, 3 squared, so they double split. The idea is I am gonna make this a lot more optimal, but that was probably like 1,000 mobs right there and several thousand arrows. So already it performs pretty well, but I know we can do a lot better, and I have ideas in mind how to do that. So this is just going to be sort of kind of a chill tower defense game where you can have, you know, hundreds or thousands of mobs on the screen, as well as projectiles and other tower effects. The grid is going to be resizable, so I'm thinking the grid could probably be like 4 to 25 times as large as it is now. And because the graphics are kind of crappy, I actually think that sort of becomes a benefit when you scale up to a large play area. So imagine that we have like, I don't know, maybe a 100 by 100 play area. Even though the graphics of any individual piece don't look that good, when you have a lot of simple things happening on a screen altogether, it could look pretty good. So that's sort of what I'm hoping for, because again, my art skills are not very great. This is also my first game that I'm making and planning on releasing to Steam. And the hope is that I sell 1 copy to a stranger. So I'll tell like my friends and family about it, and I'm sure some of them will purchase it just to show their support. But if I have 1 person who buys it who I don't personally know, I will consider that a success. And then the next game I make, I'm gonna probably 10x the goal, and then 10x the goal for the next game, and so on until we get to a respectable number of sales. But for now, I just want to be able to actually put this thing on Steam. So things I still have to implement. I have more tower ideas. I have 5 more tower ideas. So this is actually the full size that this menu is going to be. So we're going to have a ranged AoE. We're going to have like a little tack thrower sort of tower, like a throws caltrips, a few other towers. They're each going to have their own upgrade paths. We're going to increase the number of unique relics. So right now I only have 1, 2, 3. Well, I know I have more than 3. I just don't see where they are. 4, 5. And I have a bunch more written down. I just haven't implemented them yet. And then I have the ideas for the higher level, sort of not really relics. They're like relics in that they have a unique power to them, but these will be more completely game changing. Like each one will have a totally different flavor of gameplay. Sort of like brotato, if you think about it, where the starting character determines how the game goes, sort of. So we're gonna have all of those things. I'm gonna have boss waves. And oh yeah, the leaderboard. So I'm gonna have a leaderboard for this game, but not like an official one that's hosted on a website. I got this idea from Pirate Software. And I was thinking, let's have the Steam achievements be the leaderboard, right? So see who can get to the furthest level, right? So if maybe like wave 100 would be an achievement, then wave 110 would be an achievement, and so on. Every 10 waves or so would be a new achievement. And the number of achievements you get is how far along the leaderboard you are. And I would cap it at some number that I think is pretty much impossible to get to. I don't know what that number is yet. And that would just be sort of a neat little thing where where I get to play with Steam achievements and learn a little bit about it without going too crazy with it. Anyhow, I just thought I would come in and show you this game real quick. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, and also your thoughts on this sort of video. If you think that this is the sort of content you would like to see more of, I'd be happy to give you another devlog in a week or two when I've implemented more of this and sort of show you the progress over time. But if this is not of interest, then feel free to also mention that. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So if you've watched up to this point, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.